escape. Practice. Walk out onto the fire escape. Show your children where the fire escapes are. Do not get caught off guard when these fires occur. Always know how you're going to escape. The 2 victims in this fire that lost their lives, unfortunately, were found in the stairwell. That is due to the open door. That is due to them not having a plan. They came from the upper floors. They could have used that fire escape. Please, always be prepared. Be prepared for these circumstances. Although tragic, as I mentioned, our firefighters behind me are heroes. They were able to save many, many more lives, and this could have been a much more tragic situation. I'll now turn it over to our Chief of Operations, Kevin Woods.
Thank you, Commissioner. Kevin Woods, WOODS. I'm the Chief of Operations. So we stand in front of this 5-story, non-fireproof, multiple dwelling where we had a 5th alarm on Tuesday. So I'm here to talk about the heroic efforts by our firefighters, what they did here on Tuesday, rescuing many, many lives, and also to stress the important safety message of what the Commissioner just stressed, closing the door. If there's a fire in your apartment, we want you to do 3 things. We want you to leave immediately, close the door behind you, and when you're in a safe area, call 911. During this fire, the apartment door to the fire apartment was left open. So the fire, the heat, the smoke, the contaminants spread throughout this building, trapping members in their apartments. In addition to that, somebody thought it was a good idea to prop open the front entrance door. They thought they were doing the right thing. We have a lot of do's and don'ts in the FDNY. We try to educate. We encourage you to visit FDNY Smart and to learn about that. This building was built in 1906 with 2 means of egress. One means of egress is the interior stairs. When the interior stairs are compromised due to somebody leaving the apartment door open, they have to then use the fire escape. So when our members arrived here on Tuesday, Ladder 38 did a phenomenal job. Engine 88, we operate as a team. Engine 88 started stretching a hand line. Ladder 38 started removing people from the fire escape, people trapped at windows. There were rescues going on at the front of this building and at the rear of the building. Ladder 5-6 rescued an occupant at the 3rd floor, 100% saved their life, saved his life from their heroic efforts. And I'm gonna pass it off to Captain Hunt, who was a captain working that day, and he'll explain the portable ladder operations that Ladder 56 performed at this fire. Cap?
Good morning, thank you. We responded on Crescent Avenue, which is actually behind the building. As we pulled up, we saw a heavy fire. At 1:30 in the afternoon, this is a very involved fire. We pulled up, we saw multiple people on the roof, multiple people on the fire escape. I told my chauffeur, Jake Worstel, to stop. We started setting up the rig. I was in the process of getting ready, coming out of the rig and walking around to the front, where a civilian came and grabbed me, would not let go of my arm, kept saying, "My brother's trapped, my brother's trapped." I'm like, "Listen, we'll get to him, I gotta get to the front." He insisted. He dragged me into 663 Crescent, which is where I went into the lobby. I went to the back of the lobby, looked at the door. There was a door that went down into the courtyard, or blind shaft alleyway, as we call it. I got into the back, I looked up, I saw him at the 3rd floor window. He was in desperate need. He was running short on time. The fire at this time was so advanced, it was coming right towards him. Heavy duty smoke condition. I made one of my guys was with me. I yelled to him, portable ladders. I can't express the job they did. They were able to grab 2 24-foot ladders, able to get them into the lobby of 663, through the lobby, through a door, down into this blind shaft, almost. We got the ladders down there, got one down to the bottom, set it up, put it up to a setback in the rear, and we're able to pull the other ladder up to the setback in the rear and get it up to the window. The victim at this time, I was with him all the whole time, pretty much coaching him, or almost yelling at him. He was trapped up there. He had his head 6 inches out the top of the window. He had the window and an air conditioner underneath. The air conditioner was screwed into the window. He couldn't do anything. I kept yelling at him, telling him, break the window, break the window. He finally broke the window, ended up cutting his arm, but he was actually able to get lower, get his head back. I screamed at him about the air conditioner. He made some headway with it, and then finally by that time we had the ladder set up, and Tommy Burke was able to get up the ladder, get the rest of the air conditioner out of the way, try to remove some of the window. At this point, the civilian was pretty much out of gas. He told me, I can't make it. I go, you're gonna make it. So he grabbed him, we took him out head first, down the ladder, got him to the setback, then just spoke to him, and then got him down to the bottom, and then handed him off to NYPD, where they took him to EMS. But I can't stress the job that the guys did, just getting the ladders into the back, getting them set up. Teamwork is what it's all about. This civilian was completely cut off, no fire escape. Had it not been for his brother, we would have never known he was there. And he was pretty much in a closed shaft that no one could see. But the operation, like I said, with that, and with every guy that came here, it was unbelievable, the job they did with the amount of fire we had upon arrival and the amount of things going on. So I just want to say all around, it was an awesome job by every member that came here.
Excellent. Thanks, Cap. So I just want to reiterate, this was an outstanding company operation with teamwork, coordination, and cooperation. It's what we do every day in the FDNY. We constantly train for situations like this, and this was a very successful outcome from 56 Truck. Thank you very much to all of our members.
Hi, I'm Lindsay with ABC7. Two quick questions. The man who you guys rescued, how old was that man? In the window?
We don't have that information at this time.
Okay. And second, this is more just a broad question. The two people that passed away sadly in the stairwell, how could they have known not to take the stairwell if that typically is a way to escape the building? How would they have known not to do that?
Through education, there are two means of egress from every apartment in here. There are 6 apartments per floor. If you open your apartment door and it's filled with smoke and heat, you close the door to that apartment and you evacuate via that secondary means of egress. So similar to the victim that was rescued in the rear, every apartment only has 1 or 2 windows that have access to that fire escape. So he was trapped in the apartment away from his fire escape. So you also have to have a plan. Visit FDNY Smart. We explain the do's and don'ts of if there's a fire in your building, if it's a non-fireproof building or a fireproof building. A non-fireproof building is mainly wood, having fire escapes. You should learn and see what type of building you live in.
James Wilkins, X11. A couple questions as well. One, has the cause of the fire been determined? Can we talk about that?
That is still under investigation at this time.
All right. And then, was the apartment where the fire started the one where the fatalities were?
No, the 2 fatalities were in the stairwell, right? When the apartment doors open, the products of combustion, the heat, the fire, the smoke, travels up those stairwells. They were caught in their tracks. They didn't have a chance.
They were not in the. Were they living in the apartment where the fire started? Or they were under?
No, they were not. They were above the apartment. They were coming down the stairs trying to get out. And
All right. So does this mean, just to follow up, does this mean that by someone leaving doors open near their apartment, near the stairwell or wherever, they might have caused the deaths of some other resident?
when you leave the apartment door open, you affect every single floor in that building.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Excuse me, one more. So the other day you mentioned
That's the same question.
that it was rare to have such a heavy fire in the middle of the afternoon. Do you think that that had as much to do with the doors being open, or perhaps because the nature of the beginning of the fire?
The fire itself and the doors being open, we call that the flow path. When a fire starts, a fire is under pressure. That pressure builds. When you open a door, it's looking for a place to go. We call that the flow path. It goes from a high pressure area in the apartment to a low pressure area. By also opening up the front door and the bulkhead at the top of the roof, it had a natural flow path, so that increases the heat and intensity of that fire.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Captain, I know you're nervous. You did a great job. Be safe.
Hey, good to see you.
This has been breaking news.